Good evening everyone, how are we all doing? Carrying on with the little chateau tonight. I should really be doing some video editing, but I'm not quite in the mood for it, so I'm going to do some work on this again. A few more little details to add to it. Good evening Leanne, how's lovely Leanne? I'm not too bad. Good evening, Yaya. How's everyone's lovely tonight? I'm warm. Do you know what? I haven't felt like this in here for ages, but this conservatory is rather hot tonight, rather warm. I'm just going to leave that one loose because I'm not entirely sure where it goes. Just have a drink of my cold tea because I'm always forgetting my tea, aren't I? Now, I might do it a bit differently tonight. I might actually glue the pieces together in situ rather than making... I know, Leah. Yeah. I nearly said you... Well, it doesn't matter. Just watch, you don't have to talk, I understand. Oh dear. This bit of talk, I understand. I don't have much manoeuvrability. I have to get it right. Pretty much straight away. I think I've managed. What I was doing last night was using Yoo-hoo glue, not you. Oh God! I was using white glue to glue it in place to make sure I'd got some manoeuvrability time. But what I can do is actually use these cut-out blanks that I've got to just help me size them. That's a great idea. So if I do that, I can just slot that in place where it's supposed to go, like that. More tea. So yeah, I've done a bit more resizing of the drawing, but not a lot beyond that. That's why I'll do it differently. Just take that back out again. If I put the small one in, and then I put the big one in, it should give me a little overlap that allows me to just sit that right in place. Like that. But I will use some white glue to glue that in place, I think. Oh, that's not it. See if I can unclog it. Is that any good? Which way around was this? At least I know which way around this because of the scrolling. I'm having trouble wording tonight. nice placement template. Take that away. That fits all that. I keep forgetting that I'm putting things on top of things tonight, and I've lost a few bits by doing that. So, like we did last night, if you were here, I'm going to start by adding layers. Put a touch too much glue on there. Where were the tweezers I had last night? Nowhere in sight. No, there they are. I am sorry. Let's just get some smeared off. Let's just get some smeared off. If there's too much glue on it, it'll just seep underneath. Good evening, Linda. How's Linda? Oops, it's really fiddly, this. Let's abandon that. It's not helping at all. Timmy's thirsty tonight. Hello, Sarah. Sorry, didn't see you. Who's that? Hi, is this a different... Sorry, I'm going to have to scroll up, can't see who said that. Lisa, is this a different type of build for US? It is different, yes. This is pretty much Fomex-less, this one. I've changed the method I was going to do this basically because of some new tools at my disposal. So I'm kind of making myself a little bit more efficient, but it's also allowing a little bit extra detail. So yeah, it's still the same sort of thickness as I was going to be using, but instead of 2mm Fomex, it's now 2mm MDF as the base structure. So this is it's a stone facade that's been rendered over the years. So what I will be doing is creating a rendered texture, just slightly obscuring the depth of this stonework. So there'll be it'll be rendered all the way up to this line here, and then decorative stone up that bit. So I've scribed into the board with my laser where the lines are, and I'm going to be adding detail on top of that. And then I'm using bits of laser card to do that. And as you were watching yesterday, you remember that I had a bit of an issue with losing pieces. Due to the laser not cutting it right first time, or cutting it too strongly. So I'm kind of, rather than setting the laser off and doing it all again, to save a bit of time and expense, I'm just seeing what I've got and what I can salvage before I have to, look at using some new pieces. So if I sort of treat this as a bit of a kit of parts and start bringing everything together before I glue it together. So this particular piece this particular section is two pieces exactly the same, just layered on top of each other to give it extra depth. That was saving material, because otherwise I'd have had to have loaded a sheet of 0.6 thickness just purely for these arch pieces. So it'd have been a bit of a waste. I managed to set my camera up on the laser there now, so I should be able to more accurately place things. Who's that? Small World. Small World. Yes, it's thank you. It's really quite ornate facade, this one. So so my intention was to be as detailed as I could, because it's definitely going to make the difference with the model. But there's a mix of because it's quite an old building, and it's kind of been left to the elements, not the elephants but the elements, for some years. So some of it's looking quite tired and worn. So I haven't actually decided yet, or even properly conversed with the client as to whether they want it building with that sort of careworn aging, or whether it wants to be renovated slightly. What I mean to say is that some of the decorative stonework has become a little worn over the years. If you imagine sandstone deteriorates, so some of the mouldings aren't as crisp as they used to be. Could turn this into a kit. How to build your own 16th century French house facade. So rather than use super glue, which is pretty much instant grip and doesn't give me any manoeuvrability, I'm just using some. It's actually a specialist glue called Glue and Glaze, which you use particularly for windows, but it's a really nice strong PVA based glue. So that's what I'm doing. Do I like making more weathered structures? I do. I do like recreating, age-worn patina. Sometimes when you've got a newer building, it doesn't have the same sort of character. But even if I do create this with a more perfect, edged stone, I will still be painting it in a more weathered style. Some of the stonework is showing a little, it's not sandblasted. It doesn't look like it's been recently cleaned. It looks like it's been around for a few hundred years. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing with this. So even if I keep the stonework fairly pristine, I can dirty it up a little bit with some paintwork. I am too. I tell you something though, a lot of the work that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see is the drawing up. So I can create the model. I mean, I was quite fortunate with the farmhouse that I had some extensive architect's plans to work with. But I still had to do a lot of drawing on top of it. But with this one, I have nothing other than some photographs that the client has taken for me and Google Earth. And unfortunately, it's in a part of France that Google hasn't 3D mapped yet, so I don't have very nice imagery. It's a little indistinct, so there's been a bit of guesswork going on, and because the street's narrow, I can't really get a decent distance away from the house to be able to get a good sort of straight on kind of shot. So it's been a struggle to get accurate drawings made for this, but I think I'm nearly there now. I'm nowhere near finished with the drawing, but I want to get cracking with making. So what I'm doing is sort of finishing off a section at a time so I can plot it out what I want to do and get started. So what I can be doing is doing a bit of making and then doing a bit of drawing, so I'm not kind of waiting. And it's a bit of a new one for me, this, because I've only recently acquired the laser cutter. So it's been a bit of a steep learning curve. I do pride myself on being handmade. So, but I don't think there's anything wrong with using certain automated tools to help you out a little bit. It's not like I'm just pressing a button and the machine's making it for me. There's still an awful lot of creative assembly required to make this work. I mean, you could achieve this with 3D printing, but it would just look really, really false and manufactured. And I don't like the aesthetic that you get from 3D printing. It just, like I say, it just looks a little bit false. And I do think that some laser buildings look a little bit too neat and tidy. So, the aim is going to be making it not look like it's been made by a laser. I think they do, yeah. It's I think you just press a button. It's taken me, behind the scenes, it's taken me about 20 or 30 hours so far of working out to try and get not just the actual drawing, but just to try and work out all the elevations of the shapes. But this, but just drawing up the window surrounds, it's taken a long time because I've got to set up all the separate layers and elements for it. Then you've got to plan out which pieces are what thickness. So I've got I'll say it again, teeth in. I've got 3 thicknesses of material that makes up these stone surrounds here. The grey bit's obviously a grey board, 1mm thick grey board, and then you've got the bit that I'm working on now, which is 0.3mm laser board to create the stonework. And I'm just doubling up the thickness there to get as thick as I want. And then there's a tiny little detail in here. Can't quite see it, but that's 0.3mm. Sorry, no, that's not 0.3 at all. That's I think it's about 0.1. Anyway, it's craft board, craft card, as opposed to laser. Now this may be the point that I struggle getting all the pieces. It's like I say, yesterday it burnt off some of the parts a little bit too fast, so some of the pieces got lost. Kind of, yes, it does look very Georgian. It's 16th century French, so what's the 17? I can't remember, 1772, I think, something like that. So who was the monarch in charge back then? Was that Georgian? There is a carved lintel inside the attic with the date on it. I think it's 1772. The client thought it was 1442, but the French have a peculiar way of writing sevens, even back in the 1400s. Sorry, the 1700s. So it's definitely a 7, not a 4. He thought it was a 4, but it's a 7. Anyway, it's back then. So, nice bit of ornate stonework to work with. I mean, when you get original images to give a quote, I jumped at the chance. I hoped it would come off because I haven't done anything like this yet. It does test the skills. The only pain here is trying to get the light correct. Make sure it's lined up correctly and I scrape off the excess. I can get the excess off when it's dry, but it's easier when it's still wet. It just creates a lovely layered effect. Just make sure that's straight. You could work with the lasers. You could work with etching the different relief on, but I much preferred to make it in layers. I think it's a bit more realistic like this, and you don't, with the layers, with the etching layers, you do tend to get like striations in the material, So yeah, those bits go there. So that's why that is. I think I might be lucky on the sort of header capping that I might have exactly all the pieces I want. We'll soon see. Oh, thank you, Devon. Yes, there's still a few more to come. I've been trying not to flood all at once because I've got a lot of material to go at. There's a few more photographs to come, I think. But delivery is not for a couple of weeks yet, so I might get a chance to do a bit more photography. I've still got to make a video on how I thatched the roof. It just requires an intro and some detail shots. And of course I need to voice the whole thing. I don't like, well I do like, is that the right piece? I think it is. It's just a pain in the neck because it takes a long time. Even if it's like only a 20-minute video, it takes hours to do the voicing because you've got to do a bit, then you've got to watch it back to make sure it makes sense, then you've got to do another bit. Some people just do text descriptions over the videos, but I like to talk through it. I think it makes for a better video if you're describing what you're doing as well. I know it doesn't appeal to everybody, but oops, there we go. I do tend to witter on, sorry. I'm just using an offcut here of the card just to help smear it on. I had a cocktail stick yesterday, but I seem to have misplaced it. Sorry, I had to cover the screen then so I could see. Yeah, I know what you mean. I never used to like it. I've got quite used to it now. And just hovering that over at right angles just to help me set it in place, because without getting my head right up to it, I can't really tell if I'm square. Can you see how the detail's starting to build there? Detail's starting to build there. I've still got one final thin piece. I've still got one final thin piece to go over the top. Just seeing if I've got the other bits first. I think I actually ended up with slightly more than I needed in terms of the bigger bits, but I have a feeling my luck's about to run out. I might be one piece short. I've got the smaller bits, that one's broken. So now I think I'm just one section short. That's just the dog. That grunting noise in the background is my dog struggling to get up onto his chair. He's an old boy now, and he doesn't understand that he can't do it anymore properly, so he keeps persevering until he gets up. Oops, dropped it. I don't know if you can just see this line at the bottom here. I realised I needed to add a little bit extra height, because although the door opening is at floor level, it does actually change. The building changes height as it goes around the corners. So like I did with the farmhouse, I'm making it a little bit taller all the way around, so I can landscape up to it. See, because I'm using the white glue, I can just tease it into position. Whereas if I was using super glue, I'd be stuck if I hadn't got it quite right first time. And it just lets me create that kind of ledge effect. Can you see that? Let's turn that light a bit better. Just see a little bit of glue coming underneath. I'm going to give this a coat of sandstone colour eventually, and it will just lift all the detail. But what I want to try and not do is lose all the moulding detail, so it's going to have to be a very, very fine paint job. It may even have to be an airbrush, a task for the airbrush, so I don't fill it in. Just do it in lots of nice little thin coats. Sorry, my voice keeps clogging up. I'm just going to keep ploughing through the little bits that I have. This is my sheet of missing pieces. If I just keep working my way through there. I've actually found what's possibly some missing pieces on another sheet. That looks like it's there, yes. I mean, look, I thought I'd lost them, or didn't have enough, but I do. So I can actually finish those little apexes because I found the missing piece. I did actually cut it twice yesterday. The first one went sort of like, was too powerful and obliterated most of it. But I was able to rescue some of them. The laser has a little tray to catch bits that drop through, but if you don't move them quick enough, they end up lasered. So I just cleared out the debris bed afterwards and salvaged what I could, but it was mixed in with, they were mixed in with lots of other little bits of debris that I hadn't got around to shifting, and I feared I might have lost some of the bits. So I just collected everything into a pile, and I'm just sort of sifting through it just to see what I've got and what I might need to have to cut again. Like I say, I've just got enough to do these apexes. It's like a double valley building this, so the rear end of this module doesn't have any windows at all. It's just a plain wall that backs onto another building. There is the right hand side of this, the bit that heads off back, has got some really ornate decorative stonework, which is going to be a challenge to make, but I haven't got near drawing that up yet. Not to mention all the sash windows. Well, the ornate windows, I don't think they're actually sash. They might be sash. Who knows? But I've got all the windows to make up yet. I haven't decided my process yet of how I'm going to go around making it. I'm quite tempted to build this sort of facade by facade and then assemble it all afterwards, rather than making the shell and then adding the windows at a later date, if you see what I mean. Please tell me if I'm just prattling on and not making much sense. Okay, those are surplus to requirements now. Right, I've now got these bits to make. As you can see, the back layer is already cut out. I need to start building up the decorative bits of stone to build up the little whatever you'd call that detail. So I really do need my cocktail stick, and as luck would have it, I found one. I just need a bit more fine application. So this is where the laser sort of beats the cricket, because you can't really get this fine level of small cutting. What's the advantage? What was the advantage to what did I not say? Oh, what's the advantage of doing it like building it by the facade by facade? I don't know. Maybe you've got a little bit more control over the building because you've got it flat. So if I built this section and then I built the second section around, they're kind of more. I've got more control working flat like this, rather than say having the building like this and then trying to put the windows in while it's upright. So whilst it's in flat, I can get better access to the various pieces and areas. So that's why this is a little easier. I mean, I do it both ways, but I think because this has so many intricate and ornate details, it might be better to build it that way. I do sometimes think I'm a bit eager to get it into like a box structure so the building starts to take shape. But then you lose the ability to have such fine control. That's another small piece, as is that one. And that's a bigger one, but it's been chewed off. Can you see right at the edge there? I thought it was just a mark, but it's been burnt away. Oops. I think these are the pieces that I might have to redo. I seem to have quite a lot of them. Or a lot of the same one. And there's a big one. Just stick that there for the minute. The small one. That's a broken bit. There are a couple of little pieces left on this sheet. I think I might make another set of those little crest pieces because I think I want it to be a little bit thicker. I could have done with being a different thickness. Is there any other bits on there that I need? No, I think I've got them all. And there's just another couple of sheets. So I should be able to, now I've got the camera working, I should be able to utilise the spare sheets to maximise wastage, or to minimise wastage, and make sure I've cut it. I can use the same boards. I'm not making much sense, am I? I can use the sort of already used sheets a little better by marking out precisely plotting where the laser will cut, and thus being able to reuse the sheets. That's what I'm trying to get at, and we've got far too many of the same one. Unless I check my laser bed and see if there's any more bits left. It's these big pieces that I appear to be short of. And unfortunately that's the starter piece, so I do need those. these are conveniently shaped so that they match up with the stone pattern. Makes positioning them a lot easier. These windows also have some wooden shutters that I need to make. That's going to be fun. Like I say, I'm going to double up. I've got a few bits, and we'll have to cut some more, I think, but I've got at least enough to do the upstairs. I'm just going to double the thickness of these little shield-like devices, just so it stands out a bit better. I thought I had 3. So it really is quite thin. I don't know if you can just see that. It's really, really quite thin. But if I glue some back to back, it'll make it just stand out a little bit better. And hopefully when I minimise the chance of losing the detail when I paint it. He keeps jumping down for a drink and then struggling to get back up again. Really needs a bed on the floor, but he doesn't like staying on the floor. Don't blame him, really. I almost lifted that up to show you then before I realised that I can't. Because if I do, I'll lose all my little bits. Now don't pick it up with the scalpel, it's too delicate. It's really too late to be lasering more pieces, so I'll go as far as I can with the pieces that I've already got. Then I'll have to stop. Just use those little pieces there to help me align. Oops, pushed too much there. Good evening, Dave. How are you doing? Trying to find the right piece. There we go. Did you manage to get your dinner sorted? So just carrying on with some more ornate stonework tonight. Just trying to find all the pieces from last night that I might have thought I'd lost before using some more valuable material. I'm just trying to find all the pieces I can from the lost layers bit. That's good. It's not going to have an interior now, and I hadn't intended lighting it, but I think it might just benefit from lights. I hadn't intended lighting it, but I think it might just benefit from lights. So that's something I'm going to have to think about soon. I don't know that much about it, but I know that the chap that owns it is an American fella, chap from the United States. But the guy that's actually commissioned it is a friend of his, also from the United States, and they get to holiday in it. It's so big, so they're in France. They get to go and stay there. and he's just recently had a holiday out there, so he got me some more videos. But whilst he was there, they were having a kitchen fitted, and he did a little bit of he showed me a few sort of candid behind the scenes pictures of a new farmhouse kitchen being fitted, but it's made out of all reclaimed timber, so it's even though it's a new kitchen that's been put in, it's a very, very rustic looking interior. I mean, it probably would make for a really lovely model, but no, my remit is just the exterior. The exterior's ornate and time intensive as it is. But yeah, whilst he was there, he sort of filmed a little bit in the attic. He was just showing him around, and he did a bit of filming in the attic whilst he was chatting, which he shared with me as a bit of interest. But whilst they were chatting, he was saying that they probably only use like 30% of the actual property. The rest of it's just empty. Lifting the roof off, that would look good, wouldn't it? Oh yes, just do a nice little rustic looking attic. I will see how it progresses before I decide whether I'm going to be extravagant or not. Now, I've done that one. I've not got enough material to carry on. I do, however, have a little bit of window sillage. That is a technical term. I have far more of these than I need. I don't want to throw them away. I'm just going to check my debris field and see if I can find any more bits, but I'm not holding up much hope, to be honest. I'm still suffering from playing football on Monday. What was that? It's hate it when you find a cap off something and have no idea where it's come from. I need a light. I can't see. Let me take you over here, because I need the light. I'll clamp you on the corner, as you can see. I'll clamp you on the corner, as you can see the debris in the room. Now this is supposed to be cleared out, but here in the depths of the debris field I can see that there are at least two pieces I can use. But here in the depths of the debris field I can see that there are at least two pieces I can use. Here in the depths of the debris field I can see that there are at least two pieces I can use. What else have we got here? That's a useful piece. Because the laser actually fires straight through the slats, any bits that are left behind could potentially end up being burnt. So it's a bit of a fire risk, which is why you have to clear these out. But if I'm feeling a little bit lazy, I just tend to brush it all into a corner where I know the laser's not going to be hitting. You can see here, can you see here? All this sort of charcoaling, that's where the laser's cut right through. But because it was a bit too intensively cutting, it's a lot of the pieces have just dropped straight through, which is what I've got here. I think I've rescued all the pieces I can. We'll see what we've got there, and then I can clear all that away. Oops, that was a bit over enthusiastic. Let's move you back to the drawing board and we'll see what we've got. So that was a little bit like an archaeological dig. My back's killing me from doing that now. I don't know why, it just is. I just can't stay bent over for very long. Right, we need some fresh glue. Need another sacrificial bit. The trouble is if you squeeze out some glue like I have done here and it's sat there for so long, it does tend to go off in terms of starting to set, so it doesn't pay to put too much out at once. Good evening everyone. It's been a good day today. It's been quite lovely weather. I went out at lunchtime just to have a sit down away from the office. That was good. The day seems to have flown by again though. I find that I'm looking forward to the evenings where I can get a decent bit of work done. I have like a plan in my head about what I want to achieve. I never seem to do it. Did a little bit of filming though of the thatched farmhouse. I want to create a little montage video showing some of the details. So I did film a bit of that. London. Lovely. Yes, it was balmy heights of about 21 degrees here I think today. Nice and sunny. Makes a change. I think we've got decent weather up to the weekend, haven't we? Cannon Hall Farm. Oh, very good. Your birthday the weekend. Yeah, Cannon Hall Farm's not very far away at all. Been there a fair few times. It's a lovely place. going to take that back off. I think there's actually a little bit of burning hole going on, so I have enough pieces that I can use another one. I'm just checking that's the right piece, and it is. The advantage over using something like laser board or card over styrene is it's a lot easier to glue. So you could use laser board even if you weren't using a laser cutter. You can still scalpel it. It's a little harder to cut than card because it's treated for laser machines, but it's a lot more sturdy than card, so you get a better finish. I think essentially it's like laminated card, it's glued together with layers of glue. But it's quite a nice material. Thank you for sharing, David. I hope you're well. I've lost where I was. Where was I? Which one was I doing? Is it this one? Right, I just need 2 small ones. 2 tiny pieces now for the top. And we've almost finished the window surrounds. There's just a matter of the windowsills, which are deep. And I'm going to make them out of 1mm grey board. The same as the surrounds, the surround base. And a little bit of decorative stone that I've put in there. Unlike the stonework on Dave's farmhouse that I've just finished, this is a lot more, or a lot less rustic, where the stone is exposed under the render. It's dressed stone. Using a scalpel and a ruler. I probably will have to prime it because it's MDF. It'll want a primer layer, or at the very least, it'll want painting over with dilute PVA just to seal it. But I'll probably give it a light misting of primer. I don't want to obscure the stone details too much by putting too much paint on, but I think it'll benefit from a misting of primer. One thing I didn't find in that debris field was any more of the little stone crests, so I'm going to have to make some of those. Again, I do have a couple of little pieces that I need to cut, but rather than having to do everything and wasting a lot of material, I thought I would see what I've got. Completely different house now, yes. So that's how our stonework's looking on the front now. Now I'm just going to work on some of the less decorative moulding. I can actually throw away all these little decorative bits now that I've got what I want. All the spares can go. There's no point keeping them. Just get them off the table. So these might look like they're bits of debris, but they're actually necessary pieces. I'm not sure if that is or not. I think it's just a piece. That's a tiny little stone strip. That is going to go across the top there. I think it's actually that way around, and it does make a difference because of the placement of the stone divides. But I've I've etched in some guidelines onto the back of the MDF to help me. Etched in some guidelines onto the back of the MDF to help me. I don't know, Leanne. I seem to be on. You've come out and back in. How's it working for you now? I can't tell this end, you see. okay at the moment. It does kind of depend on what everybody else is doing in the house, I think, as well. It's partly TikTok and partly bandwidth. But we don't have normal TV anymore, so all the TV is watched through streaming. So if my wife's watching TV in the living room and my son's watching something in his bedroom or playing a game, then that's where all the bandwidth goes. It was lagging. Well, apologies, it's out of my control, that. See, I can use my little scraps to help align, because it's the right depth. No, I can't remember what that was for, which is useful. I might just have to consult the mighty oracle that is my laptop. Supposedly goes underneath. Just bear with me a minute, I need to check a video, not a video. I need to check a drawing. I just want to double check. I just want to double check where the where this piece goes. I have a feeling it's fur across there, and I've done too much. Oh, I should have said I've not accounted for the sill piece there. So what I'll do is I'll just have to glue some on and then just fill in underneath. I think that's what it is. Got fried by lightning, you didn't tell us that. Creek. Yes, that's what I've done. I'd originally planned on putting this straight across and ignoring that sill part. So I'm just going to have to do a bit of inventive trimming. glue this on with super glue, because I can be a little bit more imprecise. That doesn't make sense really, does it? I don't have to worry about getting it absolutely spot on, because I can pretty much easily do it by eye. Because I've got something to butt up to. I haven't glued that on yet. Could have done with it being one piece. Just a slight error on my part, but I can't take that off easily because I've super glued it down, so I'm just going to have to patch it a little bit. I will just skim over it with a bit of filler to hide that seam. I think in reality it does have some rough texturing going on anyway. can use a scrap of card for that part, because I'm only going to end up slicing it off, so I will use the full piece to go over the end, and I'll find a little bit of offcut to use to fill that small bit. This is like a little stone ledge at the bottom. I'll tell you something, this is feeling quite sturdy now. I'm just going to trim that bit of excess off by flipping it over. So I just need a little bit of excess grey board I can use for this. There's quite a lot of extra bit left over in this section. Nothing will go to waste. I will reuse as much as I can. Would you look at that? That's pretty much the right depth. Not quite though. I'll use this other part. I do want this to have a distinctive line on it though, because this is the ground level that I'm just marking in here. So it's what the floor will sit up to. So there'll be a bit of a ledge, and then the floor can sit, the eventual ground level can sit underneath it. That's the piece that I needed to keep, and I think I've blown it onto the floor somehow. I'll just mark off a couple of pieces, just in case I can't find them. There's no point laser cutting another piece just for a little tiny rectangle. Good evening, Richard. Thank you very much. Which side have I just glued that to? That side. I have a feeling I'm going to need some more of these. I'll have to see what else I need to cut in this same depth, unless I'm feeling quite confident in my I'm not sure where they found me. I can't remember where the initial contact came through. I got an email. They've obviously seen me somewhere, so I think it must have been an Instagram post or something. I think I was found through Instagram. I have had a number of Instagram inquiries. I'd have to say that Twitter is my most sort of popular query area, then followed by Instagram and TikTok last. These are really deep windowsills. I don't know if you can just see that kind of level of relief there. Yes, you are. There's my dog tippy-tapping in the background. He's an old boy now, and he gets a bit restless, so he's constantly jumping up and down. He has a little chair that he sits on in here. Oh, well, it's actually a fold-down bed that I'm very kindly put down for him. But he just can't quite jump up onto it. And then he gets stressed, which is that grunting noise you can hear. These are the different wrong thickness, so I'm running out of the correct thickness. Yeah, Timmy likes to come and join in sometimes. With these background noises. is very palatial. It's a it's a very old French sort of country house type. He called it a chateau, but I think it's a little small, and it's kind. I don't know what they would call it. It's definitely a sort of a village or town centre house rather than a castle type equivalent. My cats would cause havoc, I think, if I let them through here. But for reasons, I need to. I have the dog with me. We keep the dogs and the cats separately. So how am I doing? Oh, this bit. So I have the dog with me on an evening when I'm working. And apart from lapping and tapping up and down, he's quite quiet usually. I'd love to have my cats keeping me company, but I fear I'd be constantly getting them off the table. We have 5. It's 2 boys and 3 girls. The girls are definitely indoor cats, and they're not allowed out. The boys are most definitely outdoors cats. If they somehow find their way in here, they like nothing better than jumping up onto the table in front of the camera to get attention. Look at those extra deep windowsills. On a number of occasions I've had Pippin gate crashing alive when he's that's delaminated. Greyboard is made up of lots of layers of recycled card, and sometimes, like just now, it delaminates. So yeah, Pippin has gate crashed a few times, much to people's amusement, but he will just pester until you either feed him or let him out, depending on what he wants. And Pippin couldn't care less about the dog. It's the girls he has to be kept separate from. Now I have a feeling I've gone and used that piece. No, I haven't. It's there. I was going to say I have a feeling I've gone and used the piece that I've marked up where the little door embellishments go, but here it is. How's you, Mr. London Irishman? It's been a couple of days since we last saw you. I do love cats, yes. There. I sat down with my little cat. One of them is most definitely mine. She loves being picked up and cuddled whenever I'm around. But I'm the only one that can touch her. She doesn't like being handled by anybody else. Hello, Nelly. There we go, so we've got a bit of a decorative stone ledge around the base of the house there. I just need to finish that trim across there, and I've actually run out of the right size. I didn't cut enough. So I'm just going to have to very carefully hand cut another piece, because I'm not going to laser another section just for the sake of a tiny strip. I've always had cats and dogs. I like both. Cats are less maintenance though, I'll give you that. Although some say they're quite high maintenance. But you don't have to go out and walk cats. Timmy's way beyond walking now. We took him to the pub last night and it was a struggle because he doesn't walk very fast anymore. We could, when he was younger, he used to be able to walk for miles. You know, we'd be exhausted and he could just keep going. But now, say like if we walk a couple of miles to the pub, we're literally dragging him. It feels a bit cruel. I don't need dragging to the pub now. It was a lovely evening last night. So, got home from work, decided to go out for a walk to the pub. Right, that's my bottom ledge of this section done. Door's nearly done. I've got this little bit of cornerstone detail to put in. That might be what this was cut for. It's at the same depth. Yes, it is. Lovely English pub, indeed. Too much on there. Time we're on 25 to 12. Time's flown tonight, isn't it? I've got a slight overlap here because there's another piece of wall that needs to butt up to that. This is the part where I should have put this on first before I did the ornate stonework underneath on top. Kind of oversight. Definitely can't use super glue for this. I'm going to have to try and tease it underneath. Ghost Town. Is that Father Ted? I remember that. Still can't get it in. I love Father Ted. Lottery episode. No Dougal, these cows are very small. That wasn't the lottery episode. I don't think it was anyway. I managed to squeeze it in. This is what we call a slight oversight. I've missed this bit off. It's not that easy to do after the effect. It's another little bit that I'm going to have to cut out again. I want to cut out 3 more sort of shield pieces for those bits. And I want to cut out some little bits of stone to just top up that bit. It's a lot easier and more accurate cutting it out with the laser, so that's what I'm going to do, but not tonight. And that doesn't carry on after there, so I've only got up to here to do. So I just need to put that little piece in. And then the only bit that I can carry on with is that tiny strip across the top there that I've cut out. Then that's as much as I've got for tonight. I'll fire up the laser tomorrow. It's Friday night tomorrow, isn't it? Let's just get a little bit of glue behind there. Something's a little loose there. Need to feed a little bit of glue underneath it. There's so many quotes. Look at how cool that's looking now. That's just 2 nights' work. Sorry, accidental pinning. Well, at least I saw it. I didn't see it first time round. You may pin whatever you like as long as you feel it's relevant. Or irrelevant, or amusing. You know, as long as it's not offensive, we don't care. Right. Assuming I haven't accidentally used it and thrown it away. Has anybody seen me throw it away? No, they haven't. I'm just going to glue this in place across the top. Again, I'm not going to use super glue in case I get it wrong. So I'm just going to, like I say, I'm just going to glue that in place. Creaky, creaky, creaky. I don't know how I'm going to do this next bit because it's kind of curved. I'm going to have a think about how I achieve that. Maybe it may be clay. I might have to put a piece of clay across it and try and sculpt it into shape. Now those dates we were talking about earlier as well, Dave, I think they're pretty much a given. I just need to figure out whether my son's going to come with me or not. Depends whether he's got work. It might have to be... I might have to give a week's notice, because he won't find out what his shifts are until a week before. But I'll see if he wants to come with me. It'd be a nice little trip. No. Do you know what? I think there's a fair few episodes of Father Ted I haven't seen. There's just a few that stick. I know it's a fairly sort of popular date, or it will be given the time. But that's when we're kind of looking. I think the only sort of thing, it'll either be just me or it'll be me and Cam. I would like to bring him with me. It'd be nice to have company, have a bit of a father-son road trip. It's like my wife took my daughter up to Scotland at Easter on an impromptu trip, so it's my turn now. Or our turn. There, see if I can just hold the ruler against the line. It'll help me set it dead straight, he says, looking back and thinking that's not straight. It is straight, it just doesn't... I think the line's a little thicker at the top. It's definitely aligned there. So we have a nice ridge across the top there. And then I've got the rest of this end capping. picked up a rogative mat there. Right, aside from cutting some little extra details that I need, that's pretty much it for what I can do tonight. Just checking my bits box if I've not got a little ornate piece of plastic I can use. I think the answer is no. I did have a large piece of moulding, but I could have a look and see what the model shop's got in offer in terms of kind of quadrant beading, because it is a kind of quadrant, but it might be a little bit big. See, I've got an L shape there, but it's way too small, so I need to put some kind of moulding on there to create that shape. So it's a nice bit of flat stone up until that line, and then we've got a series of decorative moulds that go across there. I will be able to achieve it, I just don't know how just yet. Yeah, once that's got a nice front door in and all the windows, got a nice bit of facade there. See if I can just show you quickly before I sign off tonight. I will show you the mock-up. I'm sure some of you remember seeing it. I'm sure some of you will remember seeing it when I first made it. That was for me to check whether it was going to work. But this is how big it's going to be. This is the building that I'm currently making. So this is that section. I've since redrawn it, so this gable was a little wider. I've had to remeasure. But the scope of the building is going to be as per this corrugated card mock-up. I ran out of corrugated card and had to use craft board. But the actual building is much bigger than this, but I'm only making this section because it's just going to be too big. Light's poor, isn't it? There, if you can get the idea. This is the building that I'm making the frontage of here. Then it goes. There's a circular turret that fits here. Then it goes down the street. I'm sorry about the light. I just can't light it properly. Then it goes back. We've got a section of building here, and then another section around the corner. And then in reality, it does go back quite a distance that way, but they're like little storage shed and wine barrel storage areas, so I'm not going to do those. I'm just going to do this bit, which is the main body of the house. Whoops, it's become top heavy. So yes, it's going to be another big one that's not going to fit, so not going to fit on the board, so that will go against there. I've just made this a little bit taller for the purposes of embedding it, so if you can see, that's the ground level, that line there. So it's a rather grand house. It's going to take up a lot of my workspace. And again, it's not one I'm going to be able to... I'm not going to be able to get a lot of clear viewing. I might have to try and work out a different way of filming. Is Yaya still there? Or has she gone to bed? Anyway, that's a little hut I'm making for Yaya. That's another laser job. Get some better blooming lighting. I don't know if it's just me, if my phone has a kind of auto brightness. It just seems really dark. There will be, yes. There will be. There's a bit of a courtyard. It's nothing like yours, Dave. It doesn't have big fields. It's kind of straight onto the road, but there's a nice bit of courtyard to it. Road trip to France. Yeah, I haven't actually figured out how it's getting there. Oh, and apparently the owner knows about it now. The guy had to tell him about it. But that's what I'm building. I've still got these ornate dormers to build as well. But I can see here there's a bit of a courtyard. It's all paved, and then we've got a little sort of bush area with a tree in it. Then it comes this way. So yeah, there's quite a lot of there'll be quite a lot of greenery, but nothing like Dave's. So yes, that's how we're looking. Can't get it into perspective very well. Big house, close house. No, there's no way I can match those because the screen's not big enough. But that's what I'm building at the moment. So what I'll do, what I want to try and do next is work out those, but I might not be able to add those until I've got the roof. But if you can see here, there's this bit of sort of ornate coving that needs to go across the top here. So we've got flat stone up until this level, and then it kind of curves upwards and then has a couple of ledges. So it's the curve that I need to try and get working. Like I say, what I might do is put a big thick strip of clay across the top there and then sort of gouge the curve into it. But I might also try and see if I can find a piece of similarly shaped curved plastic that I can use. Right, I'm going to call that a night now and build it with card then air clay. That's a good idea. Yeah, those dormer windows are gorgeous. Yeah, what I could do is what I could actually do is cut out a load of former pieces and just put them all up. So if I used some 2mm MDF, I can't draw because I've not got a pencil handy. Can't find a pencil. What I could do is cut out a load of pieces. This is a little bit exaggerated because I can't draw that small. If I cut out a load of pieces kind of in that profile and then just glue them all sort of butted up, or at least in intervals, and then kind of use a piece of clay to just fill the gaps in and make it smooth. What a great suggestion, Leanne. Thank you. You might have just have solved my my issue there inadvertently. That's what I'm going to do. I need to draw up lots and lots of pieces like that to use and then build it up. Genius. Right, I will have a solution tomorrow, hopefully. I've only got that one facade to think about. Hello, little Miss Me. You've just caught me. I'm just about to sign off. That's what I've been doing tonight, though. This is my French Chateau facade. I've made a lot of ornate moulding. It's taken ages. I'm going to go and have a look. I did see your post. The notification came up. I will go and have a look in a minute whilst I do all my getting ready for going to bed routines. What am I going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow I think I will try and get this cornicing across the top done. I'll laser some more little shields to fill that in. I need to cut a couple of little strips to finish off the moulding on this level. Oh, it won't. And yeah, there we go. This is that's the dormer side, not the dormer side, the gable side. So it's going to fit on like that. It's got a slight stone edging detail on there. I've actually got a notch there that shouldn't be there. So I'll cut that off and it will fit together. That's because I thought I was doing something different. So yeah, like that. It'll join like that, and then I'm going to have to make the stonework go around the side. For some reason, it's not butting up properly. No, I can't put it down. I'm always the same, aren't I? So there you go. That's as much as I've done. I have a feeling it's going to cost me a fortune in materials that I haven't figured out yet. Just twist it round. See, look, it's going to take up most of my... Just this one piece is going to take most of the table up. And I'm going to be working on this forever. Okay, I am going to go. I am. I'll click on that button and I'm leaving. Great to talk to you all tonight again, as always, and I'll chat to you tomorrow.